I'm ready to go.
Go ahead. Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we got a lot to talk about, especially with those so-called mass jackbooty thugs that has been rampaging and terrorizing the country. Yeah. They've been rampaging, terrorizing people and splitting up families. So there's nothing good to be said about it. But we're about them. But we'll move on. We want to Derek, our host Derek Scott is with us, who is chair of the Escambia County Democrat Party. Also, Jill Lewis Dag, who is with Community Unity Activist. Mr. Vernon Watson, where you'll be watching this show on WBQP TV, Roku, Fire Stick, and YouTube, and also on all my Facebook pages. See Christine Forrest, who is here with us as well, who is the Democrat Party in Santa Rosa County. So I guess we'll get right into it, Derek.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening. We will go ahead and start with our normal roundtable discussion. I will start with you, Mr. McIntosh.
Okay. As you know, we got a Jazz for Justice banquet coming up. You know, this thing took over my phone. We got a Jazz for Justice on the 16th of November. It is personal and by Sheila's on Savanti Street. And we're going to have a real live jazz band, everything that works, food, and the tickets are only $40. And I said only 40 because that's cheap for a jazz show, dinner, everything. So, and it's a fundraiser for Moving for Change. We will look forward to seeing everybody there. That's June the 16th. The doors open at 4 o'clock p.m. And we'll have a social hour and then go right into the program. That's it for me, Derek.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. McIntosh. We will go to you, Mr. Vernon. What do you have for us?
Well, the only thing I have is the Veterans Day Parade is coming up on November the 11th at 10 o'clock. So people got time to register for parade, still have time to get into it and everything. So that's all I have.
Oh, thank you for that. Ms. Christina Forrest.
Hi, it's good to be here today. It's wonderful to see everybody's smiling faces. For things coming up in Santa Rosa County, on the 18th of November, we will have our DBC meeting. That's our Democratic Black Caucus meeting. That's via Zoom. So anybody who would like to join, be a part of that, in Santa Rosa County, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. We are, for the Democratic Black Caucus, we are going to be looking at sponsoring a family that potentially has 2 family members that are incarcerated. So we are going to be looking at getting a list of what the kids need and supplying a holiday meal and backpacks for the children. Our Women's Club meeting is going to be on Saturday, November 22nd. That's an in-person meeting. That will be at Navarre Library. All are welcome to join us. for the holidays. We are looking at partnering with Grace McCafferty and reaching out to a family that may have been impacted by ICE raids, providing 2 holiday meals, providing, taking the kids actually holiday shopping, and just seeing what we can do within our community. If you would like to be a part of that, we certainly welcome everybody. All Democrats are welcome to become members. And if you're not a Democrat but still would like to participate, we would definitely appreciate that participation. We are steadily sending out postcards to folks who are on the inactive voter list. We have a list of almost 2,000 Democrats that are at risk of being purged off the voter rolls because they haven't voted in at least 2 elections. And both groups are actively reaching out. So again, there's a lot of work to be done. We definitely need help. And so if you'd like to be a part of that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Don't hesitate to reach out to BJ, who is definitely working hard and sending out postcards and mobilizing folks. And we need everybody to be a part of this. So please, please, please join us. We need you, and we appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. There's a lot going on in Santa Rosa County. Ms. Jill Listad.
Good evening, everyone. It is also great to be here. I will go over just a few things that are going on in Okaloosa County. Of course, November 8th, I think almost all of us are going to the NAACP event in Niceville, Florida at the Niceville City Council Chambers. It's going to be exciting. And then on Tuesday, November 10th, the Okaloosa DBC will be meeting, usually on Zoom. We can get you that information. Our new president, he's been here for a while now, but he is really kicking into gear. He has joined with Blacks in Government, and they are putting on an event. It is a have fun, come dressed to impress, but no speakers, just DJ, dancing, fun to celebrate in December. We haven't picked the date yet, but it's going to be great. We're looking to have a huge turnout, and money costs $35, $25 to $35. They're still working on the price. So you'll get food. We'll have a DJ. It'll be fun. We'll have prizes. We're going to have games. And the money is going to go towards the Okaloosa County DBC scholarship. And then for Blacks in Government, they send students to an out-of-state meeting for Blacks in Government. So it's going to be exciting. So that's that day. And then I have my camera up so I could tell you what actual dates so I don't get them wrong. November 13th, we will be having a food drive at the Crestview Resource and Community Development Center located at 798 Martin Luther King Jr. Avenue. It starts at 10:30, but I will tell you that I volunteer there, and when I get there at 8:30, there's already people there. Traditionally, we are able to serve about 40 plus people, but because of hardship all across the state, last time we were only able to serve 27. So I say that just to say try to get there early, but what we will do is we will have a list for anybody that comes that isn't able to be served so that they'll know the other locations, because I think it's critical, especially as we're going into so many days, and November is right around the corner, and people are probably potentially not going to get their SNAP benefits as well as other benefits, that we share and let people know how they can take care of their families and what resources we have throughout our 3 communities. And Then on December 8th, we also have the Senior Airman Fortsman families asked us to pack the court, so we will be doing that. Again, they will probably change the date, but if they don't, the idea is to be there. And what his mom really wants is for everybody to be held accountable. Anybody who played a part in murdering her son, she would like them to be held accountable. And as Vernon mentioned, of course, Crestview has their parade on November 11th, and details will be coming. And other than that, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of, I think, as Jerry said, there's just a lot to talk about, a lot happening. And we want you to know that we are all here to share the information, to answer questions. I think today would be a great day, I'll say this, to either get on Facebook and write a note or call Jerry if he gives you a number so that you can join in this conversation. I'm going to hand it back over to Derek. Thank you so much.
Okay, and thank you, Jill. I appreciate that. I saw a lot going on in North Police Accounting. While we're here, I will go back to something that Mr. McIntosh shared, so I'll make sure that we have it because we have the graphic for it. Don't forget the Movement for Change, Just Jazz for Justice fundraiser, featuring Marcus Adams on Saturday, November 16th. Tickets are $40, and the doors open at 4 o'clock. If we are moving on to a couple of things that are happening in Escambia County, we just had here in Escambia County our first canvassing opportunity where we canvassed for petitions for a candidate, Ann Hill, who has declared that she is running for mayor of the city of Pensacola. And we're going to do that every Saturday from now through the second weekend in January. So if you're interested and would like to join us, in addition to canvassing for petitions, we're also ensuring that those that we talk to are enrolled and vote by mail. So if you'd like to join us, we meet at our Escambia Democratic headquarters at 2618 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. We meet there about 1:45 in the afternoon, and we go out from 2 to 4. Once you get your turf assignment, they'll go out and give you all the literature that you need. You go out and knock some doors, meet some people, and get some things done, because this is going to take a community effort as we move forward in 2026 for the 2026 elections. We're operating in the spirit that we're having them, so we're going to do just that and make sure that our candidates are prepared and that our voters are also prepared. In that same vein, similarly to Santa Rosa County, the Escambia County would like to invite you all to our inactive voter virtual phone bank kickoff. It's Monday, November 3rd at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. Right now, we've got about 16,000 Black voters in Escambia County who are at risk from being removed from the active voter rolls. Just so everybody's clear, inactive voters are if you have not voted in the last 2 election cycles. And here in Escambia County, those last 2 election cycles are either 2022 and a combined 2024 and 2025 special election. So if you didn't vote in those last 2 election cycles, they place you on the inactive voter rolls. Additionally, if they've sent you a piece of mail that has been returned to sender, you also go on that list. So we have about 16,000 Black voters in Escambia County that are at risk of being removed. So we want to make sure that we get them acclimated, get involved, and get them back on deck. So if you're interested, please join us. You get the training. We do it on the phone. You connect your cell phone to your computer, and you just sit and wait for someone to answer the phone. It's the easiest hour and a half that you would possibly spend with us to do your part. And so join us now. You can reach out to Escambia Democratic Black Caucus via Facebook, or you can sign up there on the Mobilize link that you see below. That's mobilize.us/S/ capital INM, capital F, capital U, capital Q. So join us for that. As we move on, as Mr. Vernon said, Please join. You're welcome to join the Escambia Democratic Party as we participate in the 2025 Veterans Day Parade. And that's going to be, we're going to ask everybody to meet at 9 o'clock downtown so that we can be prepared to walk. We'll be giving out flags and just marching and showing our commitment to our veterans here in Escambia County and Northwest Florida. You can join us there. You can also sign up for Mobilize. You can look for us there in Downtown Veterans Parade and walk with us. So those are the things that we have going on. And last but not least, what I will share is that, as I mentioned last week, the Escambia Democrats are taking up donations for our annual Unhoused event, where we collect toiletries to give to our unhoused community members here in Escambia County, and we're going to be packing up those donations on November 14th. So if you have something that you would like to give, please be sure to either let me know or bring them to our office, which is located at 2618 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. We'll be more than happy to accepting donations. Again, we're looking for travel size toiletries. That would be shampoo, hair, shampoo, conditioner, toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant, soap, small travel size tissue packets, whatever you can spare, as well as bath towels and washcloths. So if you'd like to donate any of those things, please feel free to do so. Again, our office is located at 2618 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive, and we're more than happy to accept any of the donations that you have. And that is all that I have for the good of the order for Escambia County. I will turn it back over to Mr. McIntosh.
Thanks, Derek. Just want to first talk about these people that's running around calling themselves agents who are nothing but Trump's secret military now. But what they have done, they have set up a scenario where people are now have they broke in one man's house, said they had a warrant. No, they didn't break in. They said they had a warrant to come in. Well, they went in, tied up the whole family, robbed them, and now and got paid. Offers 50% off membership. Also, one lady has been kidnapped and raped because somebody was imitating an officer. And so now, all kinds of things are happening. People are being beat up by people with, masks on because they are thinking they border patrol people, immigration officers, but they are not. And so running around with these masks on has caused other people to mimic that. And now they're robbing people, beating up people, raping people. And it's something that, that's really serious out here. And I would encourage every woman to be very careful when somebody come up talking about they have, they are immigration officers, because now they are, and it's been more than one that I was reading about. And it's so many things that are taking place now because of these thugs that's running around calling themselves immigration officers. If they were officers and they have badges on, why do they have to have a mask on? And that's the thing that's really killing, if you would, and also they are splitting up families without any regard for the children, just snatching people off the streets and snatching people away from, and it's nothing new in America because they did it to us, broke up families and all of that. But now they are doing it again. And people are, I still hear people say, no, that's not us. Yes, it is. It's us. It's them anyway. I might not be in that category, but it is them that are doing the same thing they did before. Vern. you're on mute, Bird.
Put my mic on, Jerry. You saying the secret police, Jerry?
Yeah.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
It's tremendously dangerous because, as you were saying earlier, they, under the pretense of Trump's secret police, they can go in and violate people, rob them, and rape them, and everything. Like you said, and some of it has happened. So I just want to know what we're going to do about it. We need, nobody's doing anything about it. We're talking about it, but nobody's doing anything about it. What can America do to stop this food?
There's a lot America could do if they had the will to do it. But most of the time, most people won't go along with. There are things being organized right now. People are saying, let's do a week. Don't buy anything for Thanksgiving. Whatever you go get it now, but don't buy anything for Thanksgiving. There are also people saying we should have a national strike, where
I found this vase at a thrift store and just
a lot of people
most of my DIYs are
are
super planned
against
out, but
that.
then
But
I'm inspired to switch things up and be spontaneous. A little.
that you, Bird?
Yeah, that's in my phone.
Uh,
Sorry, I jolly pies.
but anyway, it's just so many things happening that's unfortunate, but that is affecting the lives of so many people. Christine.
I just agree with you. And there are so many people who have been and continue to be affected by this administration and both the action and inaction of this administration. I mean, as we speak right now, the White House is literally being gutted. I mean, I can't imagine if any other president in our lifetime had done anything like this. What the outcry would have been, and these same folks who said, kneeling during the national anthem was destroying America. This man literally took a wrecking ball to the White House. That's not figuratively. That's literally. And it's absolutely disgusting. There are always things we can do. I think the biggest thing we could have done is more people who stayed home could have voted differently than what they did. For those who think their vote doesn't matter or didn't matter, it absolutely does. It absolutely did. And that's why we're in the situation we're in. And never, ever underestimate the power of your vote, no matter who you are and where you live. Because too many thought their vote didn't matter. Too many thought that, both are bad. And so why cast a vote? There is no comparison between the two people who were in the running for president this last election. There's zero comparison. And, we might have still had semblance of a democracy if Kamala Harris had been chosen. And she wasn't. And so now we have folks like Steve Bannon going up saying he can run again. We have, as I mentioned, the White House being gutted. We have this secret police force that is beholden to nobody but him, out running amok with no oversight. We have Pete Hegseth and this massive expulsion of media from the Pentagon, which everybody should be extremely concerned about. And it's just one thing after another. But if there's one thing I can say is that your vote matters. Your friends' votes matter. You matter. And so we have to get it together. We have to sound the alarm. And honestly, I don't feel like enough people are that upset about it yet. And I don't know what else has to change. We literally are watching people disappear off our streets. And I don't see the outrage that I would expect to see. Instead, I see the capitulation.
Right. That's exactly right. I don't see the outrage. Like, people just don't give a damn. And Christina, you're talking about Steve Bannon running around here talking he can run for 2028. What would stop him? Why can't he run for 2028? Nothing else stopped him. Nobody else seemed to be bothered by that. So he probably will run again if he lives that long. I hope he don't, but if he lives that long, he probably will run again in 28. So
I do want to say that I don't want, I'm not asking for anyone to pass on. I just don't want the same person in the White House. I just want to be real clear on that.
well, that's I understand that. And I don't mean to lose that. That's my opinion. If he falls dead today, I'll be the first one to be jumping for joy. I just want to make that known.
I hear what you're saying. I just want to be clear that I am not asking for anybody to not be breathing. That is not my goal, my intent, or my wish. My wish is that he would no longer be in the White House, and that's the end of my wish and what I would want. Now, I wouldn't mind if he went to a jail. I think that's absolutely where he needs to go. But I'm not wishing for anyone's demise, and I just want to be clear. I'm very clear on that, on what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I talk briefly about, going back towards the ICE, you talked about the ICE agents. And, I echo all of what you all said, all of what you said. But I want, what's funny to me is, we have had such a focused DEI and how the right has talked about didn't, right? And then it's odd because we find ourselves in 2025, and I'm not sure why. Maybe you guys can explain it to me, that to be an ICE agent, the standards that used to be in effect have severely lessened than where they were at present, than where they were in January. So if we look at it, I want to focus on the current physical fitness test part of the standards. In order, before they enter duty, ICE agents in February were, they had to do 32 sit-ups in 1 minute. They had 22 push-ups in 1 minute, and they would have to sprint 220 yards in under 47.73 seconds. And you'd have to run 1.5 miles in under 14 minutes and 25 seconds. Now, they had to adjust these standards. And now, instead of 32 sit-ups, well, you still do the same number of sit-ups in a minute, so it's still 32. But instead of 22 push-ups, you had to do 15 push-ups. You now have to do 15 push-ups. And instead of running a mile and a half in under 14 minutes, almost 14 minutes and 30 seconds, you now can run it in 15 minutes. And you don't have to sprint 220 yards anymore like you used to. You can be any kinds of all out of shape. And I'm wondering why the standards had to be lessened for all of these qualified white men who are running the nation now. For the life of me, I don't understand how all of these physically superior and intellectually superior white males have to have their physical fitness standards lessened in order to get the job. I just find that quite odd, and especially given the times where we're living, where the standard bearers, and we're told that the standard bearers are white men and everybody should strive to be like white men. Why they have to get their standard, physical fitness standards are less? Anybody have any thoughts? I guess I'm lost. I don't get it.
Racism is probably a good start. You only have to be white to make it right. There's no such thing as DEI for white folks. That's all it is DEI. I don't understand the same standard they hold for black folks and brown people, people of color, don't apply to white people. People think they're so superior they don't need a standard, but yet we can't get a job. We always have been double qualified for our job. We knew that from the beginning. We wasn't double qualified for what we did, we wouldn't have got the job in the first place. Then them sons of bitches didn't have enough nerve to say you was a DEI hire. And every black person in any job equivalent to a white person, probably twice as qualified as that white person. Okay. And so, but the only thing they want is to get rid of you black and brown folks. You know, qualification doesn't matter. You know, only thing you have to be is a lackey and a racist to be. You know, I never thought in 2025 we'd be back in the ice ages again, but here we are.
Yeah, I guess it's being kind of silly in my question. I know it's just I laugh at the hypocrisy of how we aren't able, people of color aren't able or qualified to do it, but you can't even meet your own qualifications. Right. That's the piece that I'm going down, and we're seeing even with these ICE agents that over 1/3 of them are failing the fitness test. So that's a lot of folks. And these are minimum law enforcement physical fitness, standards.
Well, there you start at the top of the heap. To look at the president of the United States, the most unfit, the most unqualified person of all times. Okay,
right?
But yet he's leading the country.
I get it. So to me, when I look at it, I guess this is more of a message to people of color to not feel bad, never feel bad about know who you are, because, never, you should never even let anybody make you feel that you're less than, unqualified, or not able to do certain things. Because as we're seeing, they can't even do it at the time. Not saying all, saying a third of them at least, because a third of the applicants can't even pass the basics. Now I'm talking, I can't run a mile and a half in 15 minutes, but I'm not applying, so I'm fine with it. I'm okay.
I find it interesting that, particularly in Florida, the Florida Sheriff's Office and the Florida Police Department is really mad about the ICE recruiters coming in and picking off deputies because they're willing to pay them twice as much, and it's really hurting the police force to see so many being taken out of the police force to go work for ICE. They're livid, and they're getting paid twice as much as what they were getting paid for to work in the sheriff's department, police department, etc. And so it's interesting, and it's all them. It's literally all them. So yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing.
For what is it, the $50,000 signing bonus, right? But they're also offering to pay off people's student loans. Now, I could have sworn.
What does that sound like? Seriously, what does that sound like? Doesn't that sound like Biden?
I thought when they tried to pay off student loans have student loan forgiveness for people, they said, why should the American people be forced to pay for the loan because someone else chose to go to college and I didn't? Why should they be forced? I guess I would pose the same question as an American citizen. Why should I be forced to pay for the student loans of ICE agents because they chose to take the job? The hypocrisy, and I think this is the thing that I continue to point out, it's the hypocrisy of the stuff that continues to be fascinating to me in these things and no one ever sees it. It's like, oh, no, y'all holler about this, but this is all right. But it's literally the exact same thing, which shows you it's not about certain people, it's about who's receiving them, right? And who the perception of who's receiving said benefits on. I just find it interesting.
Also, when you see what's going on, it is really, really just out there. And as you said, Vernon, who's gonna stop him? The Supreme Court is with him. And that's another thing that we have to talk about. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. The Supreme Court is acquiescing everything that he wants. As a matter of fact, when you go back and read about John Roberts, he'd been uh, on uh, on the rampage for a long time to end voting rights in this country because he don't feel that black and brown people should have a right to vote in this country, and if they do, they shouldn't be able to run for office. And this is what they're doing now. Uh, you know, Stopping people from voting, stopping people from going to, from running for office by gerrymandering. I think was it Carolina that gerrymandered everybody that was black. One of those cities, one of those states. They done so diluted the black population there, and put them into all these Republican strongholds so that they can, possibly never win. But then I think black people got to come up with another strategy, like we did with the Democrat Party. If you can't vote in this party, go on over there and vote in that party. Join the Republican Party and then take it over like we did the Democrat Party, and get people that to run, they might be Democrat, but get them to run as Republican, win, and change the trajectory of the country. Because as long as they are gerrymandering, it's going to be hard to win like that. Some people might can win, but most of them are not going to win because they are already pushing us out of power. We could lose as many as 30 black congressional seats if the trajectory stay on the same line that it's on now. But
Jerry, I agree with you wholeheartedly. If they're going to play that game, Democrats should just change the Republican Party. At least that point, we get a chance to vote, and then we can either block vote against some of the worst of the evils, or we can put people in it that can serve our interests. I know Democrats don't like to hear that, but that's what you're going to have to do. I mean, when you're in a situation where you block, we can't win. We're gonna have to do something. Those strategies. I know Jill and Christina, y'all probably don't like that idea, but in order for you to exercise your rights, we're gonna be absolutely leaderless here. We're not gonna be able to do anything unless if this thing continue the way it's going, and it's gerrymandering, all this kind of stuff, and we're just going to be left with just in a situation that we can't get elected. What other choice would we have to do? We're going to have to do something in order to exercise our right to vote and exercise our right to be represented. We just may have to do that. I hate to say that, and I hope would worst come to worst. I think that's what we should do. Jill, I know you're chomping at the bit, so I know you don't agree with that at all, and I know Christina don't agree with that because y'all. I'm a die.
I'm gonna let Christina go because I think her head was about to fall off with her. No. Go ahead, Christina.
So I'm totally against that, and that's actually one of the reasons why in Santa Rosa County, I worked with Jill. Jill helped me form the Democratic Black Caucus in Santa Rosa County because I felt like we needed a different way to organize. So I'm not mad at the NAACP. I understand what they were doing. So, for example, in 2016, in Santa Rosa County, the NAACP wanted everybody who was running for sheriff to come and speak to the NAACP. None of them would. So the NAACP registered everybody as Republicans. And my thing is I'm not changing my registration to have a conversation with somebody who doesn't value me as a person. And that's not how we build and amass change. So I was like, we need something different. And the Democratic Party at that time really wasn't listening to Black voters. I reached out to Jill. Jill was president of the Democratic Black Caucus in Okaloosa County at that time. I went to some of her meetings. She helped me formulate how we can strategize and how we can build power in Santa Rosa County just by being that example. And so by doing that, it allowed us to be ourselves. It allowed us to, and again, I understand what the NAACP was doing. I'm not going against what the NAACP was saying, but I'm saying there has to be a better way. And all of us switching doesn't help us. That's taking one step forward, two steps back every single time that happens. We watch it every time we come close to having our primaries, because what doesn't happen is folks don't switch back to being a Democrat. And we lose folks, and we lose folks for years. And we have to be smarter, and we have to be able to build power, and we don't do it by being not true to who we are. And so I would say, Vernon, what you're talking about isn't wrong. I just strongly disagree with it. And I believe if we all step up and if we all speak out, we can build something really powerful, and we can build something that lasts. I believe when we're silent, when we capitulate, I don't want to blend in with them. I do want to stand out. I do want to have something different. And so we need people to run, which is part of our problem in the Democratic Party. We don't have enough people running who are good in these red counties. It's not that the talent isn't there. It's there. They just don't see a pathway. And so we need to stand up. We need to support people who are running. We need to elevate their voices. And we need to make sure their voices get out in the community, because right now they're not. But no, I am 100% against that, 100%. But it doesn't mean I don't understand it. You're not alone.
I think that I believe that. So you're too young. You don't remember the 50s and the 60s, okay? And I remember when back then, Democrat was king, okay? Everybody was Democrat, Democrat had the power, except for black folks. When black folks started to vote, the only way we was able to, even though we were registering to vote, we didn't have enough. We was running against the enemy, okay? So they formed block votes and stuff. So what we had to do back then is that when people registered to vote, we had to select the lesser of the evils. We had to, support people of the Democratic Party that was help support our interests, even though we know the Democratic Party at that time wasn't our friend, okay? And so we had to do what we had to do. And history might repeat itself. We might have to start doing that again. I don't think we're at that point right now. But if this gerrymandering stuff continues across the country, and as I see it, it looks like the Republicans got an advantage over us even in gerrymandering. Okay, and they're gerrymandering all of the back districts out into to their advantage. We might not have a choice but to do that. I don't know. I just think that's it's going to be an issue, but we'll see.
Vern, most I know BJ, we'll come right back to you, but I know back in the 60s, before when Kennedy was running, is when a lot of black people became Democrats.
Right.
Because it was a big majority was Republican
right.
At that time. But they were the Dixiecrats then. But soon as black people began to vote into the Democrat Party, and that was a strategy. They said, we're gonna go over here and vote and get the worst of the worst out, and get people that's going to represent us. And that was basically what happened. That's when the Strong Thurmans and all of them, they left, the Democrat Party,
Right.
go to the Republican Party. They were the same people that were running the Democrat Party. So we ran them out. So maybe we can run some more out of the Republican Party and make it a better party. But that's just, I'm like, Bert, we're not at that point yet. But if it continue on that trajectory, we'll be out of power for years to come with the gerrymandering, and it don't seem like the big states like New York and all of that are coming on to the rescue the way I think they should. Like Philadelphia, Maryland, all of these states that has the opportunity to change the trajectory are not doing it on the level that I think they should be. I see only somebody I see out there really is talking this up is Gary Newsom, and it's kind of disheartening to see that. Bruno, BJ, go ahead.
Turn your volume up a little bit.
Can you hear me? Does that sound better?
Yes.
Okay. I was hearing that you're saying when Section 2 of the Voting Act falls, because this court wouldn't have taken it up if they didn't have intentions of basically ruling Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act unconstitutional. So let's not pretend like we don't know where this is going. So when that portion of the Voting Rights Act falls, Section 5 is already done, and we know what will happen as a result of that, meaning the possibility of losing 30 Black elected officials. You're saying at that point, we have to make a decision on what we're going to do in that scenario. You're not saying that that's a strategy that should be implemented now, but you're saying if we lose 30 black members, we're not getting back in the majority for either of you two's lifetimes, Mr. Vernon and Mr. Jerry. And I'm gonna say like Christina, I'm not saying that I want y'all to go, but but just the reality of how long humans live. We will not have any power in your lifetimes. We probably won't have it in mine. So what do we do in that instance? How do we strategize? And I have been a registered Democrat since I pre-registered at the age of 17, but my politics are Black. And so it's not blue or red, it's Black. And so I have to make a decision on what strategies can we implement moving forward in order to ensure that we gain power, that Black people gain power back, no matter what umbrella that is under. So that's what I'm hearing from Mr. Vernon. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I was sort of hearing from you. Not necessarily that we just need to alienate the party that has gotten us this far, but if we are put in a scenario that could very much so be a possibility, what are the strategies that we can implement in order to regain power back?
Well put.
Well, and also when we are talking about strategies, we're talking about making sure that we have a voice at the table. But you push, when we joined the Democrat Party, back in the 60s, like you say, I've been a Democrat all my life, But when we joined the Democrat Party, we joined to change the Democrat Party. And to be, because the Republican Party was continuing with people like Eisenhower and all of those individuals who was not for civil rights. They were against civil rights for the most part. And so when Dr. King and all of them began to, even before that, they were protesting. John Kennedy, when Dr. King was locked away and then they was trying to get rid of him in prison, Kennedy offered to help Dr. King and the King family to make sure Dr. King was free. But the thing about it, that's when a lot of people that was Republicans changed over to the Democrat Party. And when they changed and drove overnight, and when they did, the Dixiecrats went crazy. You know, Strong Thurmond, he was running for president, and all these other people, they were running. Because they didn't want a civil rights bill, they didn't want a voting rights act, they didn't want fair housing, they didn't want us to have anything. They wanted Jim Crow to stay in place as a law against us, and they didn't want us going to school with them, which I didn't care either. That definitely wasn't a thing of mine in the first place.
Yeah.
But they didn't want us going to school with them. They didn't want us eating in the same restaurants. They didn't want us have access to hotels. You had when you were driving, you had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and slip, ride to daylight, so you won't get caught out there or somebody lynch you somewhere on the road, because you couldn't stop at restaurants, and a lot of times you couldn't stop at filling stations because they it was called filling stations. Then you couldn't go there and use the bathroom to relieve yourself. So it was just so many things that changed over the years because of Black people joining the Democrat Party and electing people from the Deep South, and then electing Black people as well. Once we got the right to vote, we began to elect ourselves to represent us. And too often, there were people not really that we elected, sit back and didn't do a lot that could have helped the situation by coming. And it's just like now, I don't understand if we talked about it last week. If you're in Washington D.C. and not doing anything, that it's closed. You can't really make legislation. Then you should be out in the community across the country as much as possible. I'm talking about those who are in Congress and the Senate who are locked out. Hit these communities. Make sure people know what's going on. Make sure people know they are about to lose their health care. That come November, the SNAP program is gone. They need to be out there talking about these issues so that people know that they won't have, insurance, medical insurance. But 20 million people, 20 to and maybe more, would not have insurance, and the insurance is going to skyrocket just because of that. So they need to be out talking about that.
Jerry, not only that, I think that they ought to take a page out of the Canadian playbook. Okay, if they can't go in their community and hold town hall meetings and so forth, do let the Canadians do commercials, run commercials across the country. People see those kinds of things. We should be pushing back on Trump on everything that he has done, tearing down the White House, tearing up the country, everything. But it's appeared to me that we're not pushing back at all on it. Okay, and most of America is just sleep at the wheel. We're not responding as the way I think. We're not hearing anything. They're just hoping. The only thing I agree with what the Democrat Party is doing right now is holding they're tight on the shutdown. I believe if they continue to hold their position on the shutdown, it's going to affect some people. And like I said last week, we need a Montgomery bus cop moment. Okay, we're gonna have to suffer. We may have to take those folks suffered 356 days before they got their wheel. Okay, we're gonna have to suffer. So we may have to go without pay. I might not have to get my Social Security check. I don't care. But sooner or later, when those things start hitting, I believe that the Republican Party is gonna feel the heat on it because they're in control. They're in control of the entire government. When people start losing their benefits and their rights and their pay over a long period of time, I believe that's the only strategy that we got right now If it takes 356 days like it did in Montgomery, Alabama, to shut the government down, so be it. I think it would send a clear message. And I know I'm probably alone in this thought, but that's the only thing we can do right now. Okay, and because
So,
I don't see them doing anything else. And like I say, there's no public outcry. And another thing, I got the mic, and they brought up the point the other day, which I didn't really think about. But even in the No Kings March, we was underrepresented in the No King March. Where were the black folks?
Mhm.
In the No King March. So y'all help me understand this, okay?
Go ahead, BJ.
Um, I think that is purposeful. Um, when you say you don't see a response, are you saying from black people in general?
Democrats in general.
Democrats in general.
Yeah.
Okay. I I would submit that probably Florida Democrats are unorganized in this moment. So I'll grant you that. I don't necessarily think that there's a unified, organized response to what is going on, but I don't think that is on the national level. I think in other states they are organized, they're collectively organizing in order to combat this. I just
What are they
think that
doing though?
we're a little disorganized in our state.
I think they're unorganized across the board. Cause I don't what they're doing nationally, BJ. The Democratic Party doing nationally, other than what Gavin Newsom trying to do is sling mud.
Are you
What do
talking
you
about?
mean by
Well,
a
they
sling
kind of
mud?
holding out.
Well, what do you mean that? Hold on. What do that really mean? What are we doing to fight back? We're not fighting back. I just don't see that. We're just not fighting back. I think we're laying down like the proverbial floor mat.
I continue to say that your version of fighting back looks very different than what we consider fighting.
What are we
Like,
doing, Derek? Okay, all right.
so
I grant you that.
you know,
Give me some concrete example how the
so
Democratic Party is fighting back.
well, wait a minute now. You said Florida. You were just talking about
No, I'm
national.
not talking. I said what BJ said. Florida.
So,
I said it's
so
nationally.
yeah. So I'm gonna talk about national. Don't get. I'm not addressing nothing about no Florida Democratic Party. Not that. Not that I'm scared to. I just don't have nothing to tell you. So what I will say is, um, with the y'all sit over here act like y'all okay. Y'all can talk about what the Florida Democratic Party is doing. I'll wait. But what I will say is nationally, the National Democratic Party, you got the legislators who are holding the line right now with the bill, making sure that they don't pass. We can extend the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act. Like that is to me, they're not capitulating is what we've seen. I think last week I talked about um, the actions being cowardice. Not that they're cowards, but the actions being very cowardice. I think in this very moment, maybe they heard me. I'm just kidding. They ain't really heard me. But I'm saying like they stepped up in a way that and they're holding the line in a way that I didn't think they were going to do. As I fully expected by day 15 or day 20 that they would have caved and said, all right, fine, fine, fine. But they are holding the line. Now, again, and they're holding it for good reason, good purpose. Now, to me, that's a fight. Um, your fight, like in my mind, and don't take this the wrong way, because I don't mean it harmfully, but in my mind, I think you apply a 1960s fight to 2025.
Maybe
Like
we should.
that,
At
like
least the
that,
1950,
which
the,
I'm not telling you it's right or
1965
wrong.
was affected, wasn't it?
I'm not telling you that it's right or wrong. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it looks different in my
Yeah,
mind.
I hear you.
So
I
you
hear
were
you.
at the point in time you were fighting to get to the table or be a part of the table or even I won't even say be a part because I don't think we have to have a seat at the table, but to get to where to have something. Right now, we have something. We're trying to hold on. I think those fights look different in my mind than what they do. So you can't the same level of approach because Mr. McIntosh laid it out. And he talked about not being able to stop at restaurants or filling stations, um, uh,
Lodging hotels and
Everything, yeah.
hotels
everything, the
because
whole
because of the
gamut.
color of your skin. Now, that still might be the case in some places. You still might have that same right, but it technically is outlawed, right? So when we look at these things, where it's a different level of the fight is not the same, or we're not fighting for the same things. We're trying to hold on because we're in the verge of regressing right back to where we were in 1960, in my mind, right? So
Right.
you're trying to hold to
Exactly.
keep, not hold to get, not fight to get. And I think that's
Well, what
where
are you
the
doing
fight
though?
looks different.
I hear you, Derek. I hear
But
you. With all
I
respect,
also
I hear exactly what you're saying. But I
Right.
just, at least in the 60s, we could see what these folks were doing. We were marching, we were demanding things, we were doing some things. People could, it's something tangible that you can actually see and feel. Maybe they doing something. If it's invisible, we'll see. Jared, go ahead. I cut you off.
the only thing I would add to that is not only does the fight look different for us than it did maybe for Mr. Jerry and Mr. Vernon, but I would submit that the fight for people under 30 looks different for them than it even looks like for us.
Mhm.
So we're fighting in different ways than the people who are under 30 are fighting because our generation saw a lot of black firsts. That generation less than 30, they used to seeing black people in positions. And
Yeah.
so that no longer stimulates them. You have to think if you're 30 years old, Obama was the president when you were a child. So you to think about it, if it's that long ago. So you grew up having your first black president, something that was monumental for us was something that's normal for them. So when Mr. Vernon says that we could potentially lose 30 black seats, that sentence hits heavy for us, and it does not hit heavy for people 25. They're like, we care about what you're doing. We want more than just a black face in the position. We want to know what you're doing for us in that position. Whereas we were just
Somewhere,
happy to have that person there, just,
yeah,
because that was what we wanted to have done.
but somewhere I read that he who forgets their history will soon doomed to repeat it.
Right. Now,
And
Christina and Jill, y'all both your flappers were gasted when I said Florida. I ain't got nothing to tell you about what Florida Democrats are doing. So y'all had a visceral response. So could you outline what it is that Florida Democrats are doing?
Sure. So I would hold up Maxwell Frost, Representative Frost, first and foremost, who is the first Gen Z representative for the entire nation, not just Florida. How he is actually going door to door to talk about how people's insurance is going to be rising, how he is holding town halls, how he is holding the line. And he is beholden to his community. So I want to be really, really clear on that. So when we're not seeing a whole lot of Democrats right here, it's because we don't have a whole lot of Democrats in power right here. So when we're talking about, please go ahead, Derek.
Counting because you gave me Maxwell Frost. I've got one. We got 8. We got 7 more that are in Congress right now. So you got one. What's 2 through 8 doing?
So you can go and take a look at Frederica Wilson's post. You can go and take a look at several other posts that are doing the exact same thing, holding the line, holding town halls, getting that word out. And so let's talk.
You're saying that Frederica Wilson had a town hall. That's what you said.
I'm saying she's getting the word out.
Okay. So social media post.
Yes. And so what I will say is here in Northwest Florida, in Escambia County, you have 38,565 people that rely on the ACA. They are looking at an average monthly premium increase of $554 per month. In Santa Rosa County, we have 14,989 people currently on the ACA, looking at an average increase of $564 per month of an increase. In Okaloosa County, there are 22,333 people currently who get their health care through the ACA. They would be looking, if Congress doesn't renew these subsidies, at an increase of $563 per month for what they currently hold. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're fighting for. And so there is not a.
Go ahead. There's not what?
Go ahead. So there is not a single.
Not a single.
There is not a single Florida Democrat who has caved in. Every single one of them is holding the line. Every single one of them is going on the news. Every single one of them in their districts, in their area, talking about this. All of them are doing this. None of them have caved in. None of them. And
I'm going to disagree with you slightly.
Okay.
With the town halls. So you talked about him and Maxwell Frost. You said Maxwell Frost. No one has highlighted any other town hall from any of the other 7 congressional Florida delegation that they're doing. And then I would argue, and then I'm going to play devil's advocate, because you shifted the conversation and talked about, you gave the numbers for the Affordable Care Act for each one of our counties. So if I were Mr. Vernon, I would pose to you, and I would ask, so what are Santa Rosa and Escambia and Okaloosa Democrats, how are they fighting for those people? Your response would be what?
My response would be, we're doing our best to get this word out. We're doing our best, going everywhere we can to get this word out as much as we can.
My thing is.
Wait.
Go ahead.
I've been quiet this whole time. I've been quiet this whole time. I don't even know where to start. And I'm not starting with you, Derek, because you got that little smirk on your face. So I need to stay away from that for a moment. I figure out what to say to you. So, Vernon, I think that the breakdown that BJ did on your first statement makes Christina right now and BJ alluding to the fact that at that point, if that were to happen, we would have to do whatever we have to do. Because if we don't do anything, being a Democrat is not going to, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or Republican. If we do nothing, then we're just asking for that person in the White House to be here forever. So I think Christina's right. Like right now, that is not the answer. The answer is not to go and switch and change. And she's absolutely right with the NAACPs. Every single time they've done it, people have not switched back. And then they don't realize they didn't switch back. And they come to your groups and they're like, what are you talking about? And they're like, oh, I switched. But there will become times, if everything is moving forward the way it's moving, that we can't, I'm not getting in the mud, because that's what your fight looks like. That I'm not doing. Not the mud like you're thinking. Like I see you like guns drawn and you're shooting it out. And I know, BJ, you said there might be a time that comes, and that'll be unfortunate, because the last time, well, I ain't going to go there. But anyway, that'd be unfortunate. For me, not for y'all. It'd be unfortunate for me. I hope I have some really good friends that can shoot really well. Or just push me out now and take the bullets for everybody. I don't know. But anyway. So Jerry, I have to go over there to Derek's question. I'm just trying to stay away from it. But I'm gonna go there. So Christina is absolutely right. they have been told to go to their hometown. They have been told to go home, like go home and take care of your constituency. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Now, we don't have any of those people here, but that's what they're supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be telling them about what's going on. They're supposed to be finding ways to do the food drives and give them the clothing they need and get them the money and the resources that they need. That's what they're supposed to be doing. Now, Vernon, Derek, can I tell you that's exactly what they're doing? No, but they have nothing else to do because they are holding the line. They see what's going on. So right now, that is truly what everybody needs. Everybody needs a way to be able to survive. I thought I heard you say, Vernon, something about give up your checks and your social security checks and your whatever for 365 days. You just want everybody to die. But I understand that back in the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, it was just a different fight. And I don't see, if I go back to what we said before, I don't see if we can't boycott Target, Hobby Lobby, Walmart, wherever it is y'all want to say we can't go, then how in the world are we really thinking? I don't care how bad it gets. I can't see, not me, but definitely like BJ said, those under, okay, we'll go under 30, but the 25 and under people, they have a hard time understanding about the gentleman they want to name streets after. They have a hard time understanding that the person in the White House is really doing something against them. They have
They
a
don't want to
hard
put them in
time
there.
understanding that this shutdown impacts them. And they have a hard time watching us flip-flop or not be able to follow. Well, I thought you guys were supposed to boycott Target, Mom. Why are you at Target? Not me. I don't go to Target. I'm just saying. They watch it. They see it. They hear it. Because they're on TikTok and to all the other social media things. And they see what Democrats are not supposed to be doing. And then they watch us do it and then complain. So we can't have it both ways. Back to you. I keep kind of barely touching what Derek's saying. So what was the way you, BJ, come off the mic off mute for a moment. You said the Florida Democratic Party is, what were your words?
I was alluding to the Florida Democratic Party is just unorganized as an institution.
Okay.
I see the point that there may be individuals, just like us four are individuals who are in this work doing the things. I would grant that same. I would give that same grace to individual elected officials. I don't know if I would say all of them. I think Christina highlighted a few of them that are, and we can name some of the ones that are not.
Okay.
And we'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we'll use the word. I just want to use the same theme. So unorganized, at times, many times, absolutely. Understanding that we're in a shutdown and that people are hurting. And instead, what we want to do is talk about whether we should open primaries to MPAs, or we want to talk about whether we should have a meeting in person or not. To me, says yes, that they're distracted in a world that doesn't fit where we really are, and unorganized because they're too busy trying to make sure that we have days of action that aren't actually impacting the needs of the people. So yes, you need to register to vote, and yes, you need to do vote by mail, and we need to get you off the inactive voter rolls. But right now in the shutdown, is that where we need to focus? And how is focusing on that, A, helping anybody, and B, showing that we were ready and we were prepared? Because again, none of this should be so shocking. It's shocking that we were shut down, but we were shut down the last time he was president. So why are we shocked? And you were shut down for 35, I think it was 38 days, whatever. So you haven't gotten there yet. So you know you're not opening before that. It's going to be at least that long. I think for me, it's just, there's going to become a time where we cannot, Christina, we're going to have to fight different. We don't have a choice. We're going to have to fight different. We're not coming out like Vernon and Bill Hope you're watching the show. We're not coming out like y'all, but we're gonna have to fight different. We can't. We are sending a message to the public that if we say that we're not, then we're giving them false hope. This is going to get worse before it gets better. It is not like anything that we have ever in our lifetime experienced. And it's different knowing, reading, listening to your parents or grandparents talk about it than living it. And we didn't, so Derek, Jill, Christina, BJ, we didn't live it. And our kids, if you have kids or your nieces, your nephews, your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, they didn't live it.
Mhm.
So you see it, you're shocked, your mouth falls up, and you're like, oh my gosh, but now we're here in it, and this is just different. This is, I don't even know how to help people. So Derek, yes, there's more they could do, but what should they do? What could they do? I don't know. Because right now I feel like I'm trying to do everything I can to get the word out, as Christina said, to make sure people know where to go get help, to be active and engaged and not give up. Because at times it gets difficult. There's enough stuff going on in everybody's individual lives to then throw on the weight of this political nightmare. It's overwhelming. And everybody's not sitting on millions of dollars where they can just be like, oh, okay, whatever. But also, to our people that don't look like these people that are on here right now, you see it, I think. You think you feel it, I think. But then you give opinions like you're black, and I don't understand it. Because it doesn't impact you the same way. So you'll say, "Oh my gosh, the shutdown's terrible," da 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 da, and then you'll go dig into your 401k where you got thousands of dollars. Why are you shaking your head, Christine? I'm talking truth. I am. I'm just saying. I'm not saying that, and that's not to say that there are not wealthy and well-off people of color, but there are, like the No Kings thing. Vernon, you want to know why? Part of it was very purposeful. But the other part is, hey, we're not asked to come to the table any other time. This was for them. They see what's going on differently. He's not a king. Okay, he's not a king. He is hell for us. They haven't gotten to hell because that's why you don't see the reactions. That's why you don't see the people going out and doing, waving a sign, having speakers. I'm not saying that I believe between the 3 counties and I guess Walton County, maybe there was almost 10,000 people, maybe 7,000, I think the number was. Because I think you guys had 5, they had 3, and then 1. So let's go with, you had 3, so we had 2, so that's, let's say 5,000 people. 5,000 people. How many Democrats do you have, Derek? Okay.
60,000.
Christina, how many Democrats do you have, or BJ?
20.
Okay, and we got 23. So there's 5,000 people out there waving signs, speaking truth. No king. No king. No king. Government's still shut down. We still have people that are homeless. We have people that aren't getting benefits. SNAP benefits probably will not come out November 1st. Now what are we going to do? I personally don't need to wave a sign to tell that man that he's not a king because he took it the opposite way. So, you know, I mean, like, I get the concept. I just think right now, I think what I'd say to Derek is, what should they be doing? What do you want to see them do?
Well, no, I don't know. So I'm gonna say this, like, number one, I think BJ hit the nail on the head several shows ago. Don't know how many, but he talked about this. Like, I'm gonna start calling these things demonstrations. We've got to take the name protest out of it and call it a demonstration, because it literally is just that. Like, hey, we're saying you're not a king. We don't like it. But to me, to BJ's point, what he made, there's no actionable tangible deliverables or at things that we want to see come out of these things. It's you wave signs, you have people honking. So I've gone from the honking waves to the wave to the demonstration, and I will tell you to the point. I had this conversation with DJ, and so I'm comfortable. But the thing that irks me the most, like I'll tell you, when I went to No Kings, the very first thing that I saw, the very first thing were 5 people in dinosaur suits and with dinosaur costumes. And I know we said that the fight doesn't look the same in 2025 that it looked in the 60s.
Speak on it.
But neither in 60 or 2025 are dinosaur suits and costumes applicable in these protests or demonstrations. They just don't make sense to me, and they irk me to death. They really do. To see it seems like it lessens the legitimacy, and it makes kind of like a mock whatever intent you're trying to have. It lessens that to see people in dinosaur costumes. That's just my opinion. People were like, "Don't you like it?" You know, I was with Gay, and Gay was like, "I love your costume," and they turned to me and they're like, "Don't you like it?" And I'm like, "Oh no, Gay said that. I didn't say that." Like, I'm not about to tell you that I like your costume. It irks me to death. I don't get it, but I get someone explained it to me that they're trying to. It lessens the perceived threat level of the demonization. You know how the right is trying to demonize and talk these things are violent and it's Antifa and they're beating people and savage mobs and all this stuff. Well, if you put on a dinosaur costume, how savage are you really? Because you're walking around in a dinosaur costume. And while I guess I can get the sentiment, it just doesn't work the same, right?
That sounds like white. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
and dinosaurs eat people. Like, what? How is that even? I mean, they didn't put on Mickey Mouse or.
Like literally dinosaurs, and they're like, yeah, you know, they're up there having a good time. Dinosaurs, and it was two things: the dinosaurs and the dinosaurs people were blowing bubbles, and I'm like, what is the deal with the bubbles? And I'm trying to get like, you know. I'm trying to rock with you. I really am. But like,
Mr. Vernon wondering why we ain't there. Do you hear what he's talking about? Bubbles and dinosaur costumes, and you wondering why we're not there?
It's hard to be a part of it when it's like, so I spent my 2 hours in the sun for bubbles and dinosaur costumes. It's hard. It really is hard to do. And to me, I think Jill also said it, like, the No Kings is a very white lens focused reaction to what is happening. It is not induced, it's not like conducive to or all inclusive of what Americans are feeling. It is a very visceral response for white Americans to this oppressive, authoritarian, or fascist style of government. It doesn't look at it. Like I look at, you know, I talk about, you know, maybe my positions are a little harsh. Like I talk, listening to the farmers who are suffering. You know, they're like, oh Lord, I'm losing my crops, this, that, and the third. Well, you should have known better because you had a bad experience the first go around in 2016, right? And you voted for it a second time. And then it makes it hard for me to feel bad because these same folks who are experiencing the hardships are the same folks who sued the federal government to block Black farmers from receiving benefit and help that was long overdue to them. So for me, I'm like, oh, your chickpeas going down? Okay.
It's soybean.
Well, that's soybeans. Yeah, that's what it is. You ain't got no soybeans? Okay. Like it's hard. I'm trying to develop the empathy for some of these scenarios, but it's like you intentionally at every scenario you blocked black farmers for receiving aid, which they tried to do during the Biden-Harris administration. You suffered the first go around, but you were so dead set to not have a black person in the highest seat in the nation a second time that you said, I'd rather my fifth generation farm go belly up than to see a Negro in the seat. That's what it reads to me. I don't know. And so it's hard to muster the empathy thing. It's the same thing, I felt with like the whole Charlie Kirk situation. But I want to go back because you talked about what Florida congressional people are doing, right? And I want Representative Jared Moskowitz's speech. And let me tell you what he did 5 days ago. He had the opportunity to visit CTS Engines and their new global headquarters right there in Coral Springs and saw firsthand what a game changer it is for aviation. Thank you, CTS, for building on Florida's legacy of aerospace innovation and helping America stay #1 in aviation. Now, I thought we said that we're supposed to try to make sure people understand where to go get food, try to get an understanding of what we're doing in this government shutdown and why Democrats are holding the line. Tie that to that scenario. Okay. I'm going to go a little further. And just 3 days ago, he had a great visit to Park Trails Elementary to share a meal with students and teachers to see their lunch program. Again, same scenario. We're supposed to get food out to folks and get the word out to folks about what's happening while Democrats are holding the line. Tie that to having lunch with fourth and fifth. I'm just trying to make sure that I understand what's happening. So, and then I saw Representative Kathy Castor. She's doing a lot of Instagram lives, to your point, getting the message out and talking about what's happening. But I can name a good 100 people that I know that are seen that don't know how to spell Instagram and certainly don't have Instagram. So that message is only applicable or being seen by people who are social media savvy.
And that ain't Helene, because I've watched her lives. She just not good at it. And that's not a diss at her. It's just that's not what she good at.
Right. So again, to the point, do I know what we should be doing? I don't know. I'm not sure that I'm saying it because, Jill talked about, focusing on inactive voters. While I can't organize a food drive to the magnitude that we needed here in Escambia County, I guess I continue doing my part. My part is just that, right? And so when we look at it, again, I won't say, maybe to your point, Mr. Vernon, maybe we're not in the fight, but we're preparing for it. Maybe that's a better way to look at it. Because we're limited in what we can do right now. That's what it is.
Eric, I want to get back to the point you made earlier about the dinosaurs and folks that's in the march there.
Mm-hmm.
But in the absence of black folks there, okay. Now I don't know about you, but experience counts for a lot in my life. Okay, who has the experience of leading demonstrations and protests, nonviolent protests, and all that thing for change, other than black folks? I mean, Dr. King and all black folks was make that happen back then. Okay, and so why are we not leading the fight as rather than being in following. We let the white folks don't know how to march for nothing. They've been white privileged all their lives. They just fun and games for them. Okay,
I
they
got
don't
an
know
answer
nothing
to
about
that. I
serious.
have an answer to that
Okay, go
question
ahead.
before you move on to your next question.
Sure.
The answer to that question is we're not leading because white people don't participate when we lead.
Yes.
Okay.
There ain't no way a group of black organizers can get 5,000 white folk to show up on a weekend.
I
The
concede to
only
that.
way that they will show up is if there's white leadership
Mm-hmm.
in control.
Racism in its finest. I agree with
It's
you on
not
that.
fine, but it's the way it is. It's not fine,
And
but it's the way
because
it is.
trust me, you don't have a lack of people on this screen or off this screen who are not down for gathering and demonstrating and protesting,
Yeah.
going beyond that. It's just that where is the will?
But was there any attempt to get more black folks involved? I mean, nationwide, it was an issue nationwide, the lack of black participation in that. I think even though we wasn't leading that charge, I think we should have participated at high numbers, but I don't think we
But
were.
so Vernon, we're participating in waving signs.
Doing whatever you need to do.
But
Well,
waving signs, I'm just saying that just a normal, just take all of us out of here because they might not just the normal everyday
What's the difference
person
in
of
waving
color, a
signs
normal
in
everyday person
what's
of
the difference
color
in waving
heard
signs
about
in
the No Kings
2025
thing and they
and
sat on
marching
their
in
couch and
2020
they
in
said, you know
1960?
what? He's not a
So
king and Jesus my king or whatever they said. Why am I going out to wave a sign? And then if they watched the TV and saw bubbles and dinosaurs, they said, that's why I'm not going out.
But
Because that's
I think
supposed
you're
to be
making
something where you
excuses for
take
them,
kids.
Gio.
Like this is an event that we're
but
celebrating. Dinosaurs and bubbles are supposed to be fun. Face painting, all of that. That's all for fun. This was not fun. You're right. We could have all been there, but I don't think that they reached out enough because you know what? They didn't think they had to. You know why? Because they think that they understand it. It goes back to my statement before that they are seeing it through their lens.
Yeah.
Their lens says, this is horrible, terrible, but we're going to get through it. Our lens says, Christina, you might have to do some things you don't want to do. Vernon's going out, guns ablazing, and BJ is going to put it all together for us. And Derek is already down, nothing few bucks. So there you go. That's what this says, but they don't see it that way. They are looking at through it. It's kind of like the abortion when they went out and they fought for choice. They were just choosing, you should have choice. Oh, you should have choice. It wasn't because of the catastrophic impact to black and brown females when they have an abortion or don't have an abortion. They didn't care. They didn't get the facts for that. It was just right to choose. Don't put bands on my body. They didn't. It wasn't as deep as it is for those of us who might die. Because guess what? They can drive 500 miles and go get their abortion. Or they have a doctor that's a friend that's going to go ahead and do it anyway, where the rest of us are suffering. That's a lens. That's a pair of glasses that they are born with, that they don't know how to correct. So the strongest thing they can do is to wave a sign and say no kings. And I get it. We had 7 million. And Jerry, I hope to God that you are right. That those 7 million are going to multiply times 7 million and they're going to get out and vote. But what I'm telling you is that 7 million that I wonder how many of them that, just like you said, Vernon, if whoever you love that's of color ran or organized a no kings, would we have had 7 million? And let's not lie. Would we have had 7 million if that person or the people, the organization, the structure that put this on, would we have had 7 million? And if we had 7 million, would they have been white people?
one of the things that I saw, Jill, is that black people, we're, with all of the things that we are losing, and we are going past, we are regressing past the 60s, and I'm saying that there are black people who have influence in this country are telling other black people don't participate in these protests because of what might happen. They are just waiting on us to come out there so they can turn, start, rioting, or make the country into a totalitarian state, a state of emergency. I'm like, we already there. I'm arguing the point. We already there, that we cannot sit back and not do anything. We in the '60s we had signs waving. We wanted our rights to freedom. We wanted education. We wanted jobs. We had those signs, and there were signs out there. I thought that made sense.
You have dinosaurs
On
and bubbles
no,
at
I
any
mean,
point.
talk about yeah, but those were just a few of the people that was
But
out
at
there.
any point in the 60s, did you have anybody out there in dinosaur costumes and blowing bubbles?
No, it was not that I know of anyway. But I'm just saying the signs are cool because people had different things on those signs saying different things, and but they were out there. We cannot sit back. We cannot afford to not be out there. Uh, you know, I've argued this with people, who have influence with other people who are saying, don't go out there. I'm listening to people on Sirius Radio and other radio stations telling Black people to stay home. That's like telling Black people to not go out and vote and participate in this. We got to be, we got to be strategic, of course, but we got to be out there because it's us going to lose more than anybody.
So,
When democracy is gone, people got to have something to point at. They got to have somebody to point at. They already doing that to us in what is some semblance of a democracy. But when people see, gain power like that, and power is in the hand of one person, they're gonna continue to turn people against other people. And there are people who, and I know y'all heard about these young Republicans a couple weeks, last week, a week before last. They want to see people in the gas chambers. They want to see people lynched. You got to be some kind of cruel or some vile, cruel person to want to see that. All the name calling. The use of the word nigger was just a it was flying out of their mouth like it was nothing. And they are saying what other people are thinking. And this is why we got to make sure that people know that we are here, that we're not going to sit back and allow other people to determine our future destiny. We have to do that. We have to make sure that we are able to vote in this country, regardless of what the Supreme Court says. If we went through worse with less, with less, when you think about it, we didn't have the apparatuses that we have now, social media. And this is why I was saying, why I'm talking about the heads of the Democrat Party. I'm not talking about people like what you all are doing. I know it's hard work, but I'm talking about people who are in the leadership in Washington, D.C. and in the heads, in these state houses, who should be on social media every day or should have a social media account where they are telling people what is happening, what is, because the young people are on social media. We know that. And then a whole lot of other people on social media as well. So people need to use that platform to educate people on things that are happening, because if we don't, 2026 and 2028 is, if we don't win back the House really in 2026, we can just about very well forget about any semblance of a democracy anymore, because they are coming, and they are coming hard under
So
a
you're telling
authoritarian fascist regime.
So you're telling us to go ahead and forget anybody, any semblance of democracy, because Jules just told us last month that we ain't taking back the House of the Senate. So, I'm just saying, like, if you stick to Jill's, that's what it is. I did want to share, like, oh, sorry, go ahead, Jill.
I was gonna say, if any of you wanna go ahead and share some better truth than the truth, feel free.
I wanted to share this. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it talks about, so everybody has it, the longest shutdown in the U.S. And you see number one and number two have the same things in common.
Yep.
Number one, over here, we can point out on the one side, the president is the exact same person, right? But it also happens to be the same party. But in that, who has control of both the Senate and the House of the Representatives? The Republicans. They have control of both houses. In the others, where the what's these people? Where Democrats, Lord have mercy, I forgot the name of the wrong party, where our Democratic presidents had government shutdowns, again, two under Clinton and one under President Obama, you still see the same thing. Republicans are in charge. Maybe under President Obama, they weren't in charge in the Senate, but they still had control of one of the chambers of the House, of the Congress. So for all those folks who keep talking about it's Democrats, and I say that because we got this long vitriolic message on Saturday at our office. I was called a blue-haired alphabet EMF, because right, that's what he said, like a blue-haired alphabet EMF, because I am responsible for the government shutdown. This is from someone who suppose is a Democrat, but they're mad because we're holding up they're disappointed in the party and we're shutting down. All of us, I think most of us on this call on Friday got a text from Jimmy Petronas. Mr. Vernon, Mr. McIntosh, did you get the text? Did you all get it?
I didn't get it.
I don't know. I didn't get it.
If I did, I didn't see it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read it for those who did not receive. I think most people in Escambia and then certainly in Santa Rosa got it, and then Okaloosa got it. It says, it's from Jimmy Petronas, and it says, Congressman Jimmy Petronas here, find resources and stay informed at petronas.house.gov. Says the government is shut down because liberals are demanding over $1 trillion to fund illegal alien health care, B, radical transgender surgery.
Derek, why are you repeating that? Why are you repeating that?
No,
People like me that didn't get it, great. Cause I automatically delete anything that got an R behind it that looks like Republican.
So maybe don't.
But again, we're repeating all this nonsense to our audience that may have not seen it.
But I want them to see it, so I want them to hear it, so they can hear the nonsense, because it's critical to understand. Because these same talking points, again, whether I read it or not, they're still going to hear it because it comes on Channel 3, comes on Channel 5, comes on Channel 10, comes on Fox, it comes on CNN. They hear it the same way. We just talked about it last month.
We don't have to confirm it, though. Some things are not worth repeating.
And then they said dead people on Medicaid rolls. Now, this is what they're saying that we're holding the government up for. But again, I go back to our chart that it's not Democrats who are doing this. When we talk about the folks who are getting their health care, we talked about protecting the everybody's health care. There's people who are going from $25 to $600 insurance premiums, from $50 to $3,000 insurance premiums. Now, again, that might sound like, oh, well, some people, to Jill's point, might be able to just go in your 401k and pay the premium, call it a day. Everybody ain't like that. Everybody can't do that. So this is why they're trying to protect your ability to have health care in these United States. And I just want to make sure that we're clear on what's actually happening, so that, because people did get it. I know it went to, most of the people in Escambia and Santa Rosa County got it. You know, it's whether you were Democrat or Republican. This is the first time I've ever gotten something from Jimmy Petronas, but it was smart. Now, I say that to say, I sent a message to say, hey, CD1, Congressional District 1 got this. What we gonna do? They said, oh, we gonna get
Cue
on
the cricket
Facebook.
sound.
Right. And we're gonna send out a social media post. Well, that's not the same because these people got it to their phone. Like, and the only people who see Florida Democratic Party posts are Florida Democratic Party people or people who are just so mad they like to see what's happening so they can hate. That people, everyday people are doing it. And then we have a swath of people who are just not on Facebook. So, you know, I say all that when we go back to these are the things that to me are actionable items that we could be doing to ensure that that people understand the message, getting it out. You know, I fully thought that we would send a text message to the same folks that got the text message from Petronas to say, he's a lie. This man is a pathological liar. Say, hey, Escambia Democrats could send it out, but we ain't got that kind of money, to be quite frank. So here's where we are. And this is the things that we need. These are the things I think that to me are tangible things that we need to be doing. And where we can't have, if we can't afford to do them, you know, like by text, to me, I look for our Democratic leaders, whether they're in Congress, whether they're in Florida House or in Florida Senate, to be having these town halls discussing these. What you said, Jill?
I said they can't. They don't. They don't have the money to send the tax positive. They don't.
Yeah, no.
And that's a whole nother story. That's because our DNC people are not raising any money.
Yeah.
But so what should we be doing?
I think it basically says that Republicans are willing to invest for outcomes that they may not necessarily see immediately. They're willing to play in counties that they ordinarily wouldn't have to play in because they just have the majority. They're willing to play in places where they don't have the majority. They're just willing to play, and nothing is viewed as a waste from their perspective. We got Governor Abbott about to put $90 million into Harris County, which is basically one of the largest Democratic counties in the nation, let alone Texas. And this man, the Republican governor, is saying, you know what? We're going to put $90 million into try and flip some minds, and we're going to go into literally your backyard and figure out what we can peel away. And we got folks here that won't give us a dime to send a text message. So it's just
Gabe, we love you, Gabe. Thank you.
Hey, let me remind you what the Republican Party told me when they advertised. They said, we got a lot of problems, but money is not one of them.
That's true. I mean, they got some of the richest people. Look, when you talk about building this $300 million ballroom, and the people that's going to pay for it are some of the most richest, powerful people in the world, are now going to be even more powerful because they got more access to the president, and he's gonna have to do a lot of things that they want him to do because that's what they are doing, buying access to him. And the thing about it, the American people are being left behind by miles, and everything that he's doing is to hurt, especially in particular Black and brown people. I mean, everything he's doing. And he's sending his goon squad out to harass and to do all kinds of damage. But it's to keep people separated. You know, and this thing this would, I guess, bother me the most because even though we know that white people don't know how to lead protests and demonstration. We know that. But that shouldn't cause us all not to be involved, because what's at stake is too great to me. I mean, I guess because of what I've seen, we're regressing back past the '60s when the Civil Rights Bill is going to be gone. Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act probably gone. Section 5, which was the pre-clearance, gone. You know, uh, affirmative action gone. DEI, which was never part of legislation, that was some big business put into place to act as if they were really recruiting Black people. But what we're going to have to fall back on now is the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, especially the 14th Amendment. We got to use it to our advantage as much as possible. Because what I see, if we don't stand up for what is, Jill, you was talking about the young people. If we don't stand up now, they are not going to have a future to stand up for, because they're killing education. They're most people are not going to be able to afford to even send their children to school. They're screwing up the environment. I mean, it's just a whole host of things that they are doing that's not conducive for the future. I mean, it's damaging to the future.
Well, I'm gonna say something that ain't that popular. Y'all probably gonna get upset by what I'm about to say. I just came from a wellness retreat where we went to look at the indigenous Mayans and all of their ruins and their pyramids, etc. And the tour guide was telling us about how they really don't have a word for king, but it's basically the Mayan word. The best thing that it could translate to English was king. And so, but the Spaniards, who obviously conquered these indigenous people in their colonization, they were shocked at the way the king behaved, because the king was actually responsible for his entire village. He was responsible for feeding them, making sure that they were well clothed, making sure that they all had shelter, and making sure they were all fed. And the reason why you wanted to have a village that was healthy, that was housed, and that was clean and well taken care of is because you depended on the strength of your village if it was a neighboring tribe that was going to conquer you. So it was the duty of the king to ensure that that everyone that he ruled over, and I put that in quotes, was well taken care of. That ain't the way this country work.
Hmm.
So we don't ensure that everyone who lives in this nation is well fed, clothed, and housed. That's not the way we run things. We actually kind of run things like European kings. We got people in power who take care of the rich people, who only care about themselves, and they could care less what the subordinates are doing, which is completely opposite from the way a lot of indigenous tribes used to operate. Your kingdom was only as strong as the people you were leading. So I would venture to say we do have kings. We've always had them. So when SNAP benefits go away, why are we pretending like people ever cared about whether we ate or not anyway? When housing vouchers go away, why are we pretending like this government ever cared about whether or not people had safe shelter anyway? So my thoughts are, we're just seeing a manifestation of how this government has always treated it, just on an amplified level. But at any point in time, there was always somebody who was left out. It's just that the people who are being left out is getting magnified. The numbers are increasing. But at any point in time, there are people being left out of the system. Even at points in time in the very lives of the people on this screen, we have felt left out of the system at periods in our lives, maybe. So I just think there is going to need radical change in order for us to really live up to the ideals of what we say we are.
Exactly. Derek, you say you had something.
Oh yeah, I was just going to share with you guys. It's completely off. Well, no, two things. One, I wanted to remind those who are here in the Northwest Florida, if you're in Escambia, Santa Rosa, or even Okaloosa County, tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., David Jolly, who is one of the gubernatorial candidates for the state of Florida, will be here in Escambia County, and that is tomorrow. Let me just make sure I got that. I think it's tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., which is October 27th, which is they're going to be on the north end of the county at Molino Community Center. It's at 6450 Highway 95A North, which is in Molino. Again, it's free. It's open to the public, and it starts at 5:30. I will get there a little earlier because seating is probably limited. And it is going to be moderated by our very own Hale Morissette. We all know Hale, wonderful individual. So join that. Be sure to go out and join that if you are interested. Again, that's tomorrow at 5:30. It wasn't anything really critical. It was just something, I just wanted to share something that brought me joy this week, and it's completely off subject. Has nothing to do with anything. But I would recommend, if you guys are looking for something, well, yeah, maybe so. If you're looking for something that I just wanted to bring you joy, I spent an hour of my day yesterday and an hour again watching it. The Versus, I don't know if you all are familiar with Versus. Versus was a great way for us to get through the pandemic. They put it was like battles of R&B, hip hop, and singers. They had along with Gladys Knight, Anita Baker, and Patti LaBelle versus the other folks. They just got together and did an amalgamation of their collection of songs. They had one yesterday that was Cash Money Records and No Limit, and it was just phenomenally well. And again, for me, if you think that No Limit won that battle versus Please Meet Me Outside, because it's absolutely phenomenal, I would ask that anybody go back and watch it. And it's probably going over, I know it's going over Jill's head. I don't know if she knows either one of those folks are, or either one of the groups, but it was a great verse. Wow. I know BJ, being that he is.
You thought Cash Money won, or you thought No Limit won?
No, I absolutely thought Cash Money.
Definitely Cash Money won.
Yeah.
But Mia X turned it out.
Yes, she did. She did. She was the star of their show. Jill, No Limit is make you say, nah. Come on. Work with me. I know you know that song. Everybody knows that song. Maybe not. So anyway, that's all
Okay.
2 minutes.
All right. Any of y'all flying this holiday?
We boycotting, remember?
Oh
Now
yeah.
that I can boycott all day long.
So with a shortage of air traffic controllers and all of that, and the amount of people that's going to be flying, I'm really, and from what some people I done talked to who are air traffic controllers, they were saying they would not fly during Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday.
Well, you thinking about going to Chicago?
I was thinking about it.
To go over to New Orleans and catch Amtrak. The ticket up.
It goes. That just go to New Orleans. I mean,
no. You got to go to New Orleans, but if you go to New Orleans, it'll go from New Orleans to Chicago.
I know one leave Mobile and go to New Orleans. I don't want to do that. You could change.
Yeah, you can go from Mobile to New Orleans, but to me, I guess it's 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. Like to me, I would just drive to New Orleans and get on the train versus taking the train.
Yeah,
because you got to make all those extra stops.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I Well, I know we're getting ready to close up, but I do want to send my heart out to everybody in the path of the storm, especially in Jamaica and Cuba. Our hearts are with you, and we will definitely keep you in our prayers.
I want to say, don't forget our Jazz for Justice fundraiser, which is sponsored by Move for Change, featuring Marcus Adams. Sunday, November the 16th at its personal venue as 2016 West Advantage Street. It's $20 per person. The doors open at 4 o'clock p.m. And we're looking forward to having a great time, but also raising funds. Because we know if you think things are bad now, wait till in another couple of months. It's really going to get bad, and people need to know that it's going to get rough out here. It's really going to get hard, and I hope that somebody has some sense in the Republican Party, which I mean, to come forward and say, "Hey, enough is enough." But I doubt it very seriously, and I hope the Democrats don't cage giving one scintilla to what they are doing to make sure that the people can keep at least their health insurance, because everything else they are taking away from them. And we know that health insurance has been one of the major things that bankrupt so many people in this country for years, until President Obama passed that Affordable Care Act, and with no limits on how much insurance you could have and keep. I'll turn it back over to you, Derek.
Well, we thank you for joining us this week. Please be sure to join us next week at the same time. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and we will see you Sunday. Take care.
Good night.